Righto, to remove the starter in the Prado, you disconnect the power cable from the battery. If I can get my hand up in there to point for you, that nut there. The plug disconnects off the side here, you pull the wiring off, disconnecting the battery cable up at the battery first, and then there's two bolts that hold the starter in. This is your clutch master cylinder if it's manual. There's a bolt on the back of that bracket that holds the hose. Undo that bolt in behind there, and then up the top there, that nut up over there, which comes, it's a nut on the back of a stud, which the stud comes through from the starter. So you undo those two, and then you should be able to wangle it out up through the top after you take the air cleaner out. So that's the target for today. So to crack that top bolt, I got the opening ring spanner up there backwards onto it. That's the top bolt above the starter, the nut, sorry, and and crack that. And then I'll show you what I used to. So this is what I used: a socket with a universal and two extensions, a 12-inch and a 6-inch extension, and that allows you to get up in there to the nut and turn it under. It's very hard to loosen that with the handle. You need to crack it with the spanner, but then use that. You can get up there and undo the nut. And I've got them both undone now, and I'll just get up and get the air cleaner out so I can take the starter out the top. Plan B. If you're prepared to undo the two bolts holding your slave cylinder out, and then 17 bolts, well 3 I think or 4, 17 bolts that hold the metal tube that runs the hydraulic line around to the clutch slave cylinder, you can pull that down out of the way like so, and then you can get the starter. Let's focus. Come on. Then you can get the starter out by coming down past the slave cylinder. It can come out underneath. I can't do it one-handed, but it will now come out there. I've actually had it out and popped it back in to show you. So you just have to swing this whole mechanism out. As long as you don't push the clutch and pop the piston out, that will just go back in, engages back into the throw-out bearing, the throw-out lever, your clutch fork. Afterwards, just put all the bolts back in. So that's easy then. Plus, I'm short and I have trouble getting up into the engine bay when it's up on the ramps to get the air filter and get down underneath it. So that's how we'll go, and we'll see what we can fix. Okay, so we have the starter motor out. I'll show you what the issue is. So the plug on the side of the starter is come out, and that metal connection in the center needs to be soldered to the solenoid wire inside. So I've already undone this, but you take these 3 bolts out, the cover comes off, the solenoid plunger comes out. Oops, there's a spring in there too, and down in there, if I can get where you can see it, sorry, this wire here needs to be soldered to the plug when it comes through inside. I'm trying to watch where the camera's pointing, and so that needs to be soldered together in there. That's the issue. But I also need to work out what holds this in. I'm thinking I'll use some epoxy araldite or something like that to secure it once it's in there, because I don't like the idea of it just holding it being held by the wire. But we know it works because after I pushed that back in the other night when I found it, I actually tried it, and obviously it was just touching the wire, but it started. So it is simply that wire that's not working. The solenoid has been rebuilt. These are new contacts about 12 months ago, so I don't think I have any other issues or reasons to pursue it any further. We'll simply solder this back up and fix this plug back in, and hopefully replace the starter and it'll be going.